I'm Carolyn Hancock, and this is Letters from Japan, a little about living in Yokohama and a lot about friendship. One of my students and new friend, Yumiko, invited me to her home for lunch, and I mentally prepared myself to eat whatever she served. So far, I had escaped eating the raw fish, sashimi. I've had sushi a couple of times and really don't like the taste. There's actually a difference between sushi and sashimi. Uh, Normally, we call everything sushi in the States, but it is actually just rice which has been soaked in a fishy vinegar. It's usually rolled inside a seaweed called nori, sometimes with raw fish, then cut into slices small enough to pick up with chopsticks. The taste is pretty strong. Sashimi, which most of us call sushi, is simply raw fish. The fish is sliced into small pieces and arranged attractively on a platter. The platter usually has an assortment of fish, roe, shredded daikon radish, which is white radish at least 12 inches long, tofu, slices of egg similar to an omelet, beefsteak leaves, and that's a green fan-shaped leaf. It's usually not eaten, it's only for eye appeal. Small chrysanthemum petals, yes, just like the flower in the U.S. The presentation of food in Japan is as important as the taste and texture. Dishes, bowls, plates are decorative, pretty, patterns don't have to match, and there seems to be a certain color or type of dish for each item being served. Tradition everywhere. So, with that little background, back to Yumiko's. Yumiko showed me several of her kimono. There is a special ceremony on November 15 each year called Shichi-go-san. It's hard for me to pronounce, isn't it? Which means 753, to thank the gods for the sound growth of children. In the year a girl becomes 7, on November 15, she is dressed in a beautiful kimono and is part of a festival at a shrine. Yumiko had kept her kimono carefully packaged in the Japanese washi paper. There is also a kimono ceremony during their 20th year, and her kimono was really special. The business of her husband's family is silk weaving and kimono making, and they had made her 20th year kimono. Another tradition is that before a woman is to be married, she attends 2 specialized studies. Yumiko had chosen the tea ceremony and ikebana, which is flower arranging. So she did a modified informal tea ceremony for me, preparing the hot green tea drink. Fortunately, the women's club meeting a few days before had had a real tea ceremony, so I was familiar with the procedure. Then it was lunchtime. Her apartment is Western, so we had a real table and chairs. She first put a wooden bowl with rice on the table and let the steam evaporate while she prepared the sashimi. The platter had sliced and shredded red tuna, scallop, cuttlefish, salmon roe, as she said, baby eggs, egg omelet, daikon, and ebi, shrimp, yes, raw. She put mirin into the rice, chopped and stirred it, then went back into the kitchen to fix the miso, which is a soup. Into boiling water went salt and dashi, which is a concentrated fish stock, and the clams. When the clams started to pop open, she ladled the soup, complete with clams and shells, brought out the nori, poured a little soy sauce into a small saucer, and it was time to eat. It turns out to be the Japanese version of the fajita. You put a nori leaf, which was fresh and crisp, in the palm of your hand, spoon on some rice and your selection of fish, roll it up, dip it in soy sauce, and munch away. And you know what? It was good. But I left out one little point in rolling it up. This is laid down on a little bamboo tray, which is rollable, and as you roll that up, it rolls the version of the Japanese food. There's always a gift. When it was time for me to leave, Yumiko said, "Just a moment, please." All one word, as I've heard it so many times. She brought out some samples of her kimono fabric and said they could be made into a table mat, purse, stretched in a picture frame, many things, and I was to pick one. What an honor that was for me. Then she had a gift of chopstick packages decorated with origami that she had made. Her son is 7 years old and was home from school on school holiday. He was extremely well-mannered and pleasant, wanted me to see his room, which looked like a typical boy's room, except no bed, futon only. His futon was rolled up against the wall. However, he did have a big Lego set all constructed into something. Now, 30 years later, I leave you with my thought for the day. The conversational English class, it wasn't just a job, and it really wasn't teaching. It was listening and becoming a friend. Thanks for listening. Remember to follow and let your friends know about Letters from Japan.